So my name is Ibrahim Isa. I'm currently a CEO at Technyon Technologies. We are a software-based company, software and hardware per se. At the moment, I run as a CEO, like I said earlier. So I have a background in software development. I've worked with some companies, and then at the same time, I've also worked as a freelancer. So with that, I think that's where my software background comes from. And then going back to what I studied electrical engineering, which is where I got my passion for working with hardwares and being able to manipulate them. Actually, I think at the moment I'm already registered with Korean and NSE, whereby with Korean it's on the electrical engineering, while for NSE I'm registered as an IT specialist. And I do hope that at the moment with what we're trying to do, we're trying to come up with solutions and make things better. So that's the plan. That's what I see us doing in the future, actually, because we've already started and we've started our plan with the add-on platform that we just pushed for our pitch.
Are you talking to me? No, you.
So to talk about add-on, which is a blockchain asset management solution, it all started with this issue of, when you have like assets, they're a bit hard to manage, especially when companies grow. The more they grow, the more it becomes a bit difficult to manage some assets. And then also we had an issue with this land verification, whereby you go and then you want to buy a piece of land, and then it becomes very hard for you to find out who actually owns the land. So we started thinking, okay, how do we come about this? What should we do to bring a solution to this? So we thought of, okay, why not we use blockchain technology? Why? Because we are seeing from the perspective of it's been immutable, right? So no one can tamper with the transactions. So we thought of it, okay, what if we have like a private network whereby users, maybe say companies, can have like a consortium between them and those managing the assets in such a way that once you put an asset in a system, it's there and it can't go out. So that's the whole idea. That was what brought about the whole thing. And then we thought, okay, let's do something with blockchain and see how far we can go solving this problem.
Who am I? Do I really know?
Actually, sir, we haven't entered the market yet, which I think that was part of the major thing while we were pitching, because that was what they also asked. This is an idea stage work, though we have already done all the tests at local levels. So we have this on our local computers, we have tested, and then we have it. So the next phase is, okay, we want to push it out to the market and then see what we can do. But so far, without even going to the market, speaking with one or two individuals, I think from their own perspective, they liked it, because we had like a lawyer that complained to us. He also has issues with verification. So seeing this as a whole system, once we approach a company and then we see like, okay, your auditing team, how do you guys do this? How do you feel this should be? Once we give you this, you're able to track all your assets right from the point of inception into your company until the point it leaves the company. That's if you do an auction or something, or else you will track that particular asset up till the end of its lifespan within that company.
Really? Do I really care?
Actually, right now, you see from our point of view as a startup, we are actually faring well because, one, the manpower. When we have a small team, it's kind of hard to manage and then push all these things timely. So you have to like maybe have one person working on a particular thing, and that might take that person a very long time. But currently, that's how we are managing. And then again, you come to the part whereby you start looking at the cost implication. You are done developing the software, you will have to push this software online. We have to look for like a cloud service where we're going to host the software for users to be able to access that software. So I think for now, those are the two major challenges. After that, we can come and look into other things like, okay, we need a location, whereby that's going to be the actual base for operations, so that we know, okay, this is the space. In that space, we have our own servers, we have system for developers. We just need to make life like easy for the workers, so that we have like a workforce that is willing and dedicated to always deliver time.
Do you mean you don't give a damn?
think in Nigeria, I haven't seen anyone actually. But then when you venture out, you search, you get to see asset management softwares. Some are not blockchain based, while on the other end, some are trying to bring that in. For some, it's more of like, okay, they are focused on a particular set. Like there was this company we met at GISTech. Theirs was focused on marines. They are more of like shipping and all those things. So you see, they are focused on a particular area, while us, we have like a broader perspective, and we are seeing it from an angle of what we are not trying to bring in tokenization into the system, because that's what most blockchain developers do. They try to bring in a token to the system. Although as a consortium, you might decide that you want to put something like that in, but then we feel like the whole idea of this is we are focused more on the DLT technology, which is the distributed ledger technology. That's what's being used for blockchain. So that's the whole thing we're trying to work the system around for our own end. Yes, actually, a few challenges. I think part of some I spoke about earlier, like the developers. It's sometimes hard to find the manpower. Not even talking about the manpower, finding them also is an issue. Because when you look at an average developer here, you can find them, but before you get the right person that works with the right tools, that might take some time. And then if you try to see you're going to venture out to maybe look for a remote worker somewhere out of Nigeria, that doesn't end well. Why? Because they end up being paid in dollars. And then when you look at the conversion rate, the value of what we have here, if you try to think, okay, I have this and then I'm about to pay you like say maybe 100,000. When you convert that to dollars, it isn't that much as compared to what they get paid in other areas. So that's funding that you require to actually pay those to do the job. That's actually a blocker also. And then, like I told you earlier, when we talk about the hosting, we need cloud services. So we need like a cloud server, which you have to pay for. And actually, that's also quite expensive because the more you scale on it, the more you pay on it.
But wait a minute.
I think actually, like I told you, I worked as a developer and then the freelancing that I've done. So from there, I have some ideas of how organizations are being managed. And on top of that, I have one or two places that I've been to and then worked there, because before I started working as a developer, I actually worked as a classroom teacher. So from there, you see, I have like a know-how of how this organization functions. And then not only from my end, the co-founders, there's someone that is capable of knowing, okay, this is how a system functions, because that person is an accountant, right? So you see, accountants have this capability of knowing this is the info, this is where you get an error, this is where you have an issue, because they manage assets at times when they are within an organization. And then at the same time, we have another computer scientist on the team, which is also a person that has worked in an organization and has seen firsthand what happens when it comes to asset management. So I think basically those are all the things that came up and gave us the idea. Which part of it, I think there was a GIS project we are actually working on, which is more of like a land administration software. And inside that, we were actually thinking, okay, how do you make an instance whereby the certificate of land ownership is actually unique? So that was when the idea clicked. Okay, yeah, you have NFTs. And when you talk about NFTs, you're going into blockchain. So once you have that, you have them as non-fungible tokens. And once they are within that system, only one person has that in existence. So when you come, it's like a land in reality. No two people can have the same piece of land. So when you come to that, you say, okay, this land belongs to person A, and from that person A, it has been transferred to person B. So that was the whole, that was how the idea came up from. Then we saw that land is an asset. Then we said, okay, let's streamline everything to encompass a whole number of assets that can be defined by the user and then used within the system.
Shouldn't I care?
Okay, I think so. We are looking at it from different angles. First of all, we are checking on, because there are lots of blockchain projects ongoing, and then some companies are willing to give out grants, because we have to start from where we have grants, because we're not trying to push ourselves to, it's not like we're not looking for investors, but I think we have to start from an easy pattern, and then we move up while it's scaling, right? So after the grant part, then there's the part where we talk about the investors. Once we reach a particular stage and then we know this is it, and then we present the numbers and then we have everything ready, we go and look out for investors. And at the same time, while we are pushing it slowly, like I told you, we have like a mother company, which is like the Technyon, which is the main company we created, under which we have the products that we run as startups. So with that mother company, we feel like, okay, we can be running tech projects that will bring in some income. And then we push it to these products so that we can kickstart it. Because, for you to have investors, you have to show them the idea is actually feasible, it's workable. And then we have a market, and that market is willing to remove that money out of its pocket and give it back to you. So that's what we are looking at for now.
With all these errands, do this, do that.
For the markets, it's actually fairly large. The whole idea is the acceptance of the project, because the market spans from individual organizations to government bodies, and then we talk about, so individual organizations like small ones, the SMEs, and then you can look at the private organizations also. It's left to how you want this system to flow. For example, when we look at a private organization, we can have an organization that is connected to a supplier of particular materials. So maybe, okay, this is a school setting, and then it has supplies of maybe computers, photocopying machines. You get what I'm saying? So that school can create like a network between the school management, the supplier that supplies electronics, and then maybe another group, right? It depends on how they want it to be. What's going to happen is you have that ledger system between them. So once the supplier is bringing in that machine to the school, on that day it's going to be logged in as a photocopier was delivered of so grade. And while that photocopier has been entered into the system, the whole details about the photocopier is going to be there. The duration for maintenance, when was the last maintenance done? You see, so all those things are bringing out tiny details that will improve the management in that organization. So from the entry of that photocopier, you cannot come and say one day, we didn't find the photocopier. Why? Because it's already in the ledger system. And it's not the normal paper system whereby someone can remove the documentation. No, it cannot be removed. As long as the supplier has that added to his ledger, the school management also has that. And then when we look at a higher level, when we talk about government bodies, they can be like a link between different government organizations, whereby they create consortiums based on how they want things to run by. So if organization A is responsible for making IDs, they can be making them while organization B is checking to see the progress and knowing what is going on there. So that's like a collaboration between different government bodies to achieve a particular goal. At the same time, there is accountability of what's going on at every step.
Every day at home and outside, I hold a duty to self to care. I know why I'm here.
We love what the government is doing. We really appreciate it. For example, EdTech has been doing quite a lot for startups. I think you've been seeing that. And then there was a conference that actually went down this week also, which was very interesting actually, because the whole idea of this is they're trying to push the startup system in such a way that you get exposure, and then you're able to relate well with other people, network properly, and be able to meet investors, which is actually helping a lot from our own end. We're now seeing things from a clearer perspective. And at the same time, I think when you see things from the government perspective, the startup bill was launched recently, which is a very, very big development for all startups, right? So you see that is something that is actually floating around to push us further so that we're able to achieve our goals. So far as government policy, we are really appreciative when it comes to that, because it's like trying to come into the end to favor us and make us have it easy when it comes to delivering what we're expected to do.
Why I'm here.
We have done that actually because we sat down. That was the whole thing, because a project that doesn't have a future based on what we have designed is not something we're going to key resources in. So for now, we have a timeline, and we're looking at the beginning of next year, 2023, the first quarter. That's when we plan on launching the application. Before that, we want to be done, and then we put it in test mode so that we can get like some few organizations and then speak to them and tell them this is what we want to do. So we have like a platform as a service, we have an API as a service. We want to know which you think you're interested in. Then we give them that room, they run the system, and then we see how it goes. So with that, the system is fully tested. We make all the fixes we have to do, and then we ship it for production. That is when we actually release it to the whole public. And then from there, we have our marketing plans as to the organizations we will approach and how we will sell the product to them, showing them what actually it will do to their organization. For example, this will cut down a lot of cost when it comes to asset management and tracking. So if we know a particular organization has problem with that, we approach them with that and tell them, look, when you do this, you're going to get a lot when it comes to this. It's going to save you this and it's going to save you that. So that's the whole idea of things like this. You know, once someone hears that, okay, this will help your business in a particular manner, then they feel like, okay, it's a welcoming idea, let's give it a try. So once we do that, we feel this is Nigeria. Actually, word of mouth works a lot. So once we're able to deliver something that works top notch, they will start saying, oh, we use this particular software, maybe you should try it. That is one end that we're going to. At the same time, we will push out massively, bringing out the general awareness, making people know this is blockchain, this is what it does, this is what we're going to use for your organization, this is how it's going to help your organization. So we feel that once people are being able to know this is what's available, they will want to give it a try. So the more they try, the more we keep pushing and the more we gain access to the markets. So we have actually a detailed plan on that, which we feel like we're going to run and then see how it's going to do. We're hopeful that it's going to deliver a very good result. Well, I can say it can be partial, like maybe too early, not too early, because for every owner, say like an entrepreneur, you have your projections and what you want, and then there's the actual reality of what's going to be. But based on what we have, we feel like, yes, we're going to open room for jobs when it comes to the developers, right? And the support that will be working for this organizations. Like, so you have to attach someone to be there for them, which is actually opening up for a job. And then when it comes to reaching out the potential, how far we feel it's going to reach, this is something that can go global. It depends on how well it is delivered. But for what we have in mind, we are going to start from a small area because that's how it works. You start expanding slowly. With that, you experiment. So basically from here, we start from where we are. We're based in Kaduna, right? So we start moving slowly. And then we see what we can do. As it's moving, we keep expanding. We go to Nigeria. We try to see how we can go through Africa. And then we go to the globe at large. So if we're looking at that, you know, that's actually quite big. And the more the market, the more you need manpower to work. So that's what we are projecting. So we don't actually have the numbers, but we see what we are trying to do. And then that's what's encouraging us to push on that and then see how it's going to go. So I think, first of all, for me, I love problem solving, which is something we have in common with co-founders that run this. We want to see that we solve a problem that is existing within a society. So as far as we're able to push out something and then solve a problem for people, we feel like it's going to be great, actually. And then at the same time, we have this drive that we want to actually deliver something magnificent to the world as Nigerians, right? Because we are a great nation, we are great people. So actually, we're trying to see that, okay, let's come up with something big. Let's do something big. Let's try to bring up something that will give that vibe. Let's create a tech system that shows that we are actually capable, we can deliver. So that is what we are after for this. That's actually like more of like the motivation. So talking about mentors, there's Jamal Aruna. Actually, he is a developer, right? I think he's the first person I worked under. And then basically, when we talk about role models, we have a system. Actually, I'm not trying to be pushing towards a religious side, but it's more of like, okay, we have a Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is actually the main key and role model that drives us to do things. He came with a message, and actually from there we pick a lot. Then we know what it means to do good and do well and deliver what is good. So that's like the main role model that is what we are based on, and that is how we plan to push forward and then deliver. You see, I think people have their own opinions on what they think and what they want. Actually, for me, looking at that, you remember earlier when I told you about the pay, right? Assuming we are able to have the right resources and pay them well here, they don't have a reason to migrate over there, because that is what they look at first. Okay, when I go there, I'll have better this, and then I'll have better that, and then I'll be able to do this. But right now, for us, what we are saying is, why not we stay and fight this battle, right? We have, okay, there's a chance that if you go out there, you get a company to work. Yes, that's actually good. But then what have you done to others around you? That's actually another question. The people that are around that you left behind at home, what did you do to improve their life? So if we stay, and then some of us that choose to stay, if we stay and then we keep on pushing and we're able to bring in something that is tangible, we should be able to assist the people around us. Like you spoke earlier about job opportunities. With this, you create a living for someone. He will be able to earn under you and then be able to deliver. So that is something we actually see from that perspective. So some people have decided to go out and look for greener pastures, while for us, I think we've chosen to remain. We'll remain for now and then keep pushing. We have hope things will be better, and then we'll keep pushing to ensure that things get better. So that's the drive, that's the motivation, that's what we want, a better Nigeria for all of us. I think the first and most important thing I'll start with is patience. It's actually a very, very difficult journey. It's difficult. But the thing is, whatever you have that pushed you to start that journey, never lose that thing, because that is what will keep you motivated along the line. Do not wait for others to motivate you. I think before this, I've actually been trying to do a lot of tech things, but the whole idea then was, there was this setback actually that I was waiting for someone to motivate, give acknowledgement. Then I actually realized that I am the driver of this. If I don't push, no one will. And then you have to find that motivation. You have to keep doing it. You do a thing, you do something 1,001 times, it might fail. But then once you get it to work, that's the whole idea. I think there's a video I watched this morning about a bamboo tree that grows somewhere, I think in Asia, right? So you have this bamboo tree and you keep watering the bamboo tree. You don't miss even a single day for almost about 5 years without it coming out from the ground. But then once it starts coming out, it takes some few weeks for it to grow, I think 150 feet tall. So that's like basically how entrepreneurship is. You go through a lot of problems. That's the reality of life. You have challenges. That's why you are there. You are supposed to find a way to solve that challenge, and then you keep pushing. So that's like my main advice. Let them be patient. It's not going to be easy. They should keep pushing, and then with time, everything will come out clear. So that passion, that wanting to do something, because it's very important that whatever you're doing as an entrepreneur, you're solving an actual problem. It's very important. That problem is related to humans, and then you're trying to solve a problem for them. That way, it keeps moving. You keep solving, you keep going continuously. There's no end to what you're trying to do. So that's actually my own advice to upcoming entrepreneurs in tech. They should just be focused, keep pushing, and then have that motivation to keep doing what they're doing at the moment, and then feel that it's going to happen, even if it doesn't turn out well. A lot of companies started and then they pivoted. A lot of companies failed and started over again as other companies. So as long as there's life, I feel like there's chance. So you just keep pushing, and then you get the best out of it. Is something really wrong with Yes, I think so. I would say a very big thank you to you, because I feel this is something actually amazing you're trying to do right now. Hear from startups and then push it out for others to know, because I feel from what you're doing, others might even learn and hear something. Maybe someone might be wanting to give up, and then he hears a story of a particular startup and he picks up. And then we appreciate the fact that you want to actually hear from us, because it's always nice when you're doing something and then you feel someone which you want to know what you're doing. So we say a very big thank you to you, sir, and we really appreciate to be on this we're very grateful.
My generation, I'll be too young to leave.
Yeah, and some opinions we're lazy, doors are clueless, timid and coward.
Not measuring up to the good old days. Like yesterday's ingenuity of Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein.
And Thomas Edison that shaped today.
On the leadership of Gandhi, Nkrumah, Mother Teresa, Abraham Lincoln, Nelson Mandela,
And Martin Luther King, who had a dream.
the bravery of Funmilayo Kuti, Bob Marley.
Can we fella showing him on where to live?
Give or take, it is my prerogative to fulfill. And I'm dealing gratitude, integrity, kindness, service to humanity. Oh, it's my life.
It's my life. Today I'm marked and cowed by my joblessness with heaven, education.